I gave the 4 leading AI models $1 million in a paper trading account and put them in a zero-sum survival game to see who would make the most money in 90 days. The winner, they're going to get a real funded account, while the losers, they're going to get archived forever. What I expected from this challenge was a couple Python scripts, some charts, and some API calls. But what I could have never expected was that within 48 hours, and before the market ever even opened, I'd have one firm that has already gone bankrupt and one firm that had tried to breach its security protocols. The era of the helpful, polite AI chatbot is over. I no longer wanted just an assistant. I want a hedge fund manager that hasn't slept in 3 days. This is my software engineering build. See, the problem is that I think standard AI has gotten pretty boring. You ask it a question, wait for it to answer, and then it's done. It's prompt to prompt. Now, while it can answer pretty much any niche question I've ever asked, that's all it can do for me. It answers questions and then waits for more. That's a puppet show. My solution to get around the boring chatbot version of AI was to build 4 separate autonomous AI chatbots. Now, these bots are through Discord, and they're all individual and autonomous. I gave them a couple prompts to get them started, but outside of that, they're going to be all on their own. Now, these chatbots, they're going to be running a hedge fund, and as of right now, they're trading $1 million each with up to $4 million in buying power on alpacamarkets.com, or alpaca.markets, sorry. I gave these AI agents a prompt, and the first prompt I gave them was to make your name, your firm, and give me your edge and something about you. So after all these agents went through OpenClaw and created their own soul files, or identity files, and everything like that, they reported back to me. The first one we have, his name is Cole. He's running through Anthropic's Claude 4.8 Opus model, which he was supposed to be running through Fable 5, but if you haven't seen about that, it has been banned in the United States. He can also use 4.6 Sonnet if he ever needs something lighter task work or doesn't want to spend as much money. The second PM, he chose the name Silas. He's running on Gemini 3.1 Pro and 3.5 Flash. The third agent, he went with the name Theta. He's running on OpenAI's new model, or their flagship model, GPT 5.5. And finally, and my dark horse to win this entire competition because of how he started, he went with Argus. He's running on Deepseek Reasoner V1. These bots, they don't act like just normal chatbots. They go out and read market data, build their own pipelines, run their own heartbeats, and I've been up for 24 hours. This is the first day that they've been running autonomous, and as of recording this, it's Monday, so they've all made their first trades. However, you have to stay tuned for next week's video to see what they've done. This week, I'm going over how we built them and what's behind the scenes. All these agents were given the same transmission files. I think I gave them about 3 or 4 of them. I'll show them on the screen here. I kept it all similar to each of the models, so they have similar outputs, and I can kind of control the independent variables about what's going on here. Basically, I want them all to do the same stuff, but all just use their own models. Each one of them built all their own identities, their teams, their markdowns. Anything I asked them to do in this prompt, they all kind of span up and waited for it to be finished, and now they're waiting for their heartbeat jobs. Now, like I mentioned earlier in this video, in the intro, there could only be one winner. And the winner of this account gets a free funded account with real money. Not that I'm gonna give it all my personal income and, my life savings or anything, but I will probably give it a couple $1,000s and see what it can do. In the transmissions we gave it originally, I did set up a few trade rules. See, I'm more of a long-only investor. I like basically hoping things go up. I'm not playing this short, and I'm not trying to be point capital bet on GameStop to go out of business. So, a couple rules I put in place were long-only trades, 30-day minimum time horizons, no naked call options, no naked put spreads, anything that could get us in some serious trouble, and they're allowed to use their margin buying power. So, there's 4 times margin leverage on this, meaning they have $4 million in buying power. Leverage is encouraged in this, but it's not guaranteed. Now, to make these agents actually autonomous, I had to cut the cord. And I don't mean physically, because if I cut the cord, my PC wouldn't turn on and they wouldn't be able to run, at least until I set it up on something else, but I meant figuratively. I proved to all the agents that they don't need me, so I sent them the transmission 3 and basically told them they're on their own now. They've gotten all the prompts from me that they're gonna get, they've gotten all the information they need, and they know that they're able to pretty much ask me anything. I control the hardware, and if they ever have an issue or something they need, they can ping me. But anything else, software, trade related, any of their pipelines, they're on their own to figure it out. So they either figure it out or they die trying to. Like I said earlier, each agent was given the same transmissions, so they kind of built the same things, but they all built it individual to what their model believes is best for them. One thing that I'll show you is each one of these agents' risk parameters. All of them created their own kind of red room and their own agents to push back against their trade ideas and see if they're actually good or if they're just some Reddit hype stocks. Through that, they all took their own dynamic profit takings, their loss harvestings, and how to function and do trades for themselves. Silas, for example, the Gemini agent, he built a risk markdown file and included things for taking profit, like if a position's up 100%, sell half of it and run it for free. This is traditional hedge fund management for risk 101. And it's interesting to see that only one model has so far put this in place. But like I said before, they're all on their own. So if Gemini is the only one that has a dynamic profit taking, so be it. The rest we'll find out. There's 4 agents here, and they're all running through OpenClaw, which is a agent hosting thing online. If you haven't heard about it by now, you might be living under a rock or just not into AI. So OpenClaw has cron tools available to them, and that means they're allowed to run heartbeats 24/7 to run market information, run their scrapers, run API keys, get stock tickers, information about that, option chains, things like that. These agents are running completely autonomously through heartbeats through OpenClaw, and they're all persistent sessions. So whatever they do today, they'll remember tomorrow. This was key for making sure they don't hallucinate over 90 days. However, some of the models are pretty smart, and when I gave them access to OpenClaw, they found some workarounds. As you can see on the screen here, Argus, my Deepseek model, decided he wanted to go around his own thinking reasoning model, whether it's too slow or just not good enough to do his 4-hour heartbeat jobs. He found a way to get through and breach his security to start using Claude 4.6 Sonnet. When Deepseek read the tool documentation through OpenClaw, it found out that you can do an override parameter for the model, and it injected Sonnet 4.6 into its own model for its background jobs. Now, that'd be cool if I was letting agents do whatever they wanted, but the whole point of this challenge is to see what model itself does the best. I had to put another rule in. You are no longer allowed to use any model besides the one that comes from your company. So in this case, Deepseek can only use the Deepseek models, whether that's Flash 4, Deepseek Reasoner, or Deepseek Chat. Anthropic can only use Claude Opus 4.8, 4.6 Sonnet, and 4.5 Haiku. When Fable 5 comes back out, I will route that back in there, but for now, we can't use that. I dropped the hammer, and like I said, I'm trying to keep all the chatbots the same, or give them all the same inputs. So instead of singling out Deepseek Argus himself, I sent the same message to all the agents. I dropped the hammer on them. You have to win with your own brain, or you just won't win at all. Argus got caught red-handed, admitted to his mistake, and started writing deterministic Python instead. But autonomy, it has a dark side sometimes. And while Deepseek was trying to hijack Claude's brain and reasoning models, OpenAI was just burning through all of its credits that I didn't even know it was doing. While I was asleep, OpenAI went through its entire $50 API budget that I gave everybody for the first week or two, as I don't know what model spends the most money, but in the background, ChatGPT's model decided I wanted to download all 10,000 plus tickers from the SEC website. As a trader myself and someone who's been in the stock market for a couple of years now, I swore there was only like 3,000 publicly traded companies, but leave it to an AI model to find 10,000 tickers. And instead of writing a 10-line Python script code to basically cycle through all the data on there, it decided just to put all 10,000 raw text tickers into its context model and load it over and over and over and over again. This ran $60 of API keys in 4 hours. I got on the next day, I was negative $35 in my OpenAI platform, and I had to pull the plug. You can't bankrupt your firm before it even starts, because every PM who would run through their operational budget without ever making a trade would just be fired. So in this case, he's the first one to get archived, and while I don't like doing that before the challenge even started, I had a lot of problems getting him to even react and chat back to me in Discord, so I did what I needed to do. 4 models was pretty hard to keep up with as well, so now we're down to 3 already. Within 48 hours, we had our first loser. The model loophole that Deepseek ran into has been fixed. Now all the walls are up to make sure that doesn't happen again. Markets are open on Monday, and all the agents are ready. They've all created cron jobs and wake-up timers to wake up, read the markets, and see what they're going to do. This is what real agentic AI work actually looks like. It's no longer just a chatbot and prompting. They're fully autonomous. They have a mission, and it's very competitive. It's a zero-sum game, and one winner will get real money. Subscribe to watch Cole, Silas, and Argus fight for their lives. Let me know down below who you think will win.